I'm Kimberly Kennedy, and today I'm building a tufted headboard. I've brought my friend Liz along. She wants to help me and also learn so she can make one for her daughter too. The first thing you want to do is measure your bed. Figure out how wide and how high you'd like your finished headboard to be. Then you'll head to your home improvement store with those measurements and they'll cut a sheet of plywood for you just to your size. The next thing you want to do is pick out some decorative trim. As long as you pick trim that is flat on the bottom, like this window casing here, it'll work perfectly. When you get your wood home, figure out where your borders are going to be with your trim. So the next thing we want to figure out is button placement.
So how do we figure out how to evenly space them?
It's actually kind of tricky, but I came up with a really neat idea of using just butcher paper here. I cut the paper so that it fit inside our trim marks and folded it in half, folded it in half, folded it in half again. Every place that the folds meet is where a button could go. And I'm thinking that maybe we should skip every other line. Liz, go ahead and let's make a mark where each button is so it goes through the paper and into the wood.
Safety first.
Drill 2 holes, one on either side of each mark that I have, about 1/4 inch apart. The next thing we're going to do is prepare our surface for our foam that's going to give our tufting kind of like the lift and loft. What I have here is some spray adhesive. What you want to do is place these down about 1/4 inch off of each of your marks. Now we're going to take our fabric and lay it out across the foam. There's a few more steps, but I think we'll take a short break.
Sounds great.
We're building a headboard and we're halfway through the project. Right now we have the fabric covering the foam on top of the board.
So I noticed this has a really sharp edge. What are we going to do to smooth the transition to the trim?
So what I'm going to use is this piece of trim, and I'm going to have you put some pressure on it as I staple.
Wow, that looks great.
It does look good. We drilled 2 holes on either side of our marks because when we're using our needle to sew our buttons on, we're going to come up through one hole, put the button on, and go back down through the other. That way we won't have to knot it each time. Now we're going to start pulling the threads so our buttons start tufting into the foam.
Well, why don't we turn the board over?
Yeah, so we can see the bottom. Since I have one continuous thread going along here, I'm going to need to cut in between each button so that I actually have 2 threads I can pull together tightly, tufting the button up and knotting it off. I'm going to take this extra fabric on the edges, put it on the back of the board, and just staple it in. I finished staining my trim and it's dry, so we're going to go ahead and attach it to our headboard. You'll notice that there are 45-degree angles cut on it. That can be done at your home improvement store as well. Now that I have my trim where I want it, I'm going to secure it with a nail gun.
Now you can also use finished nails and a hammer, right?
Absolutely. So we're done. We're ready to put it in the room.
Fantastic. You ready?
Yep, let's put it in. I think it turned out pretty neat.
I think it looks amazing.